You are now watching Mugen TV.
Hey guys, it's MugenLord here, and I'm back again with another discussion video. And this video is going to be more talking and leaning more to the social aspects of what's going on inside gaming. Because yesterday, I really appreciate the feedback that I've gotten from you guys when we're talking about Momo-kun and the whole cosplay and sexual harassment allegations and everything like that, and I really appreciate that. And the thing is, I try for like years, I try to stay away from talking about social, political, or whatever aspects on my channel, even though, and regardless if it's related to gaming or not, I try to keep it off of this channels because there may be a lot of you guys who are social justice warriors or feminists or right wing or left wing or MGTOW or anything, and I don't want to say certain things that could rub any of you guys the wrong ways, for the fact is that this channel is supposed to be just for gaming and us enjoying gaming. But I just can't help, is because in the society that we live in today, it's really bothering me. It's bogging me down, like I said before, about Facebook and how toxic it has become, and how all of this is really spreading over into the thing that I love the most, which is gaming. So I want to follow up on it with this video, is because for the past couple of days, I've been reading up on it and I've been following it just a little bit, but I definitely wanted to give my input on it. There was an incident that went down with two Guild War 2 developers who had pretty much got into conflict with his fan base, and it's really crazy because it started off with a woman named Jessica Price, who writes story scripts and dialogue for MMORPGs with dialogues and stuff like that. And it's crazy how when this situation came up, it turned into a whole sexism and feminism and all this other kind of stuff wrapped into one big bow, and it got really ugly, which led to her being fired. So I'm just gonna give you a gist of what's going on and what went down. And I find it funny because this is a situation where the sexism card didn't work. It didn't work in this person's favor, and the two developers had pretty much had gotten the axe, which I believe was a good swift move on the Guild Wars companies or developers part to alleviate the situation. So pretty much it went like this. Jessica Price had pretty much was on her Twitter account, and she was talking about how hard it is to try to develop dialogue or well-rounded story arcs for characters within a PC MMORPG. So the thing is, I'm not going to go into too many details because I had a link in the description below, because she went on a long ramble about it and everything. And then at the end of it, pretty much people liked it and, just talked about it and everything like that. So this one Guild War fan, who's also a YouTuber, and who's also part of the Guild Wars 2 community and everything. So this person pretty much has some name, and his name is Doror. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. So he gets onto her tweet when she talked about the whole developing MMO characters and stuff, as far as story and scripting and stuff like that. So he gets on there and he wanted to give his feedback or his constructive criticism. Now the thing about it was, the way he approached it was that he was approaching her as a fan who enjoyed the Guild Wars 2 developers working what they've done for the game and for the community. And he came to her in a respectful way, and at the same time he also agreed that, hey, this was an interesting read, I really enjoyed it, but I do slightly disagree with some of the things that you said. This is what, and he said, this is what I believe how dialogue and how characters or stories or whatever can be written for MMORPGs. So he's pretty much giving his constructive criticism and his input, and at the same time he opened up being polite and even thanked her for the whole dialogue, for bringing up this dialogue, because it was an interesting read. And so he decided to give his feedback, and it wasn't even harsh. He didn't belittle her. He didn't say anything that was off-putting at all. He just gave his input. So the dialogue, after he got finished giving its input, she felt some type of way about it. She really took it personal. And the thing that was so crazy about it is that she took what he was saying as him mansplaining to her. She turned the whole situation into a whole sexist argument, saying, you know, and she went on a ramble talking about how difficult it is being a female working in the game industry, and you know, here it is, DeWard, him being the man, you know, he's coming in explaining to her how to do her job, and she's been doing it for over a decade now, and I mean, she went on a whole ramble, and she pretty much took DeWard's tweet and she pretty much retweeted it for her followers and everybody to see it, and it caused a real uproar from the community, because you had some people that came in agreeing with her, and then you had more so, which was a good thing, you had more people on DeWard's side, because people were saying like, hey, wait a minute, like DeWard didn't say anything disrespectful or anything at all. He came in politely, and he came in respectfully, and said that he enjoyed and agreed with some of the stuff that he said, but at the same time he slightly disagreed with some aspects, and he just gave his own input on it. He wasn't telling her what she should do, what she should do as far as developing, you know, scripts and developing stories and for, you know, characters in a PC MMO RPG. And she really got mad, and Dorora came back and said, hey, like, all I wanted was, you know, all I wanted was some dialogue between me and you, like, and I didn't expect to get this type of response coming from you. And I'm kind of pretty much, and guys, bear in mind, I'm paraphrasing all this, because it's a whole lot of stuff to try to get a gist of, and you can just read it yourself, but I'm just paraphrasing this. So Dorora is pretty much saying that, you know, I thought we was going to have, you know, a like-minded, you know, civil conversation and discussion about this topic, because, you know, one, I'm a fan of this, and I'm a fan of what you do and what the developers that did with this game, and I figured that we can have a like-minded conversation. So she got on there and started calling him, she called him an asshat, and she was just going on rambling, and still trying to lean the situation to a whole sexist conversation, where it had nothing to do with her gender. It had nothing to do with how it is to be a woman in the workplace and everything like that. She just exploded on him, and then she started exploding on the fan base altogether. So she was pretty much saying whoever's the next rando asshat who coming on her Twitter to pretty much tell her how to do her job, which Dorora wasn't doing, and no one else was really doing at all, is going to get insta block. Now the thing is, people were saying, like, for starters, like, this is not even a private Twitter, because she was pretty much saying that she, you know, like, is, you know, like, this is her private Twitter, and no one asks for anybody's opinions, this, that, and the other. But people were saying, wait a minute, you're on a public platform. There's nothing private about your Twitter. And plus, the post that she made was an AMA, which means ask me anything. So she pretty much posted it on there. So what do you expect people to not respond when you put it up on a public platform such as Twitter, where everybody can read it and everybody can see? People are going to comment, and people's going to say things, especially when you're saying things that's respective to Guild Wars 2, and so people from the community is going to respond, is going to react to it. So it didn't get any better. It was because this is where white knighting failed, because another developer comes in who works on the same team as Jessica Price. His name is Peter Fries. Now Peter Fries, he put on his white knight armor, or beta male armor, he puts it on, and he goes out into the battlefield and calls himself trying to protect Jessica Price. So he gets on there and saying, like, well, for starters, she never asked for your input, and, you know, this is her private Twitter. She's, you know, and she just put it up. She just wanted to just put her thoughts and her opinions out there, and no one has a right to really go on there and comment or say anything, especially when she's a professional, and you guys are pretty much low level story writers. Y'all don't know how to, you know, we've been doing this for years, so who are y'all guys to tell us or tell her how she should do things and stuff like that? So this is just me paraphrasing, But he gets on there defending her. He gets on there, he puts his white knight armor on, and start white knighting for her and everything like that, instead of sitting back assessing the situation and seeing how the situation played out and what caused the situation. He goes on there and defends her, and pretty much made snarky comments back towards the fan base. So now the Guild Wars 2 fan base are now feeling extremely like disrespected and upset, and saying like, wow, we just want to have a discussion about this post, and now the two of you guys, you know, like, are now attacking us. So right after everything was all said and done, the CEO, or the boss, or the manager, O'Brien, had pretty much left a tweet stating that Peter Fries and Jessica Price will no longer be working for the Guild Wars 2 team. They pretty much have been fired from the company, and what they cherish the most is the communication and the relationship that they have with their fan base. And under no circumstances should the Guild Wars employees or anyone within the company should attack its fans, you know, and because its fans, their main objective is to create a good game and a fun game for their fans, especially when the fans have done nothing wrong. In this case, they've done nothing wrong, and the way Jessica Price handled it, and the way Peter Fries had handled the situation, it really sent a bad message out towards the company itself. And O'Brien pretty much said that this doesn't represent us. These two doesn't represent us as a company and with our ideas and everything like that. So they let them go, which I think it was a good move. It was a smart move on their part. They hurry up and just like alleviated the situation right away. They jumped on it right away. And this also has sparked some controversy. Now, the thing is that really upsets me about today's journalism and today with mainstream media is because companies like Kotaku and gaming journalist sites like Polygon, they have pretty much got the scoop on the story from Jessica Price. And what I hate about the mainstream media today is you have to be careful what you read within the mainstream media, especially if people don't know what the situation is and how it started and how it went down, is because the way Polygon has spent it, it made it look like that the company that developed Guild Wars was pretty much against Jessica Price, was pretty much enforcing sexism and pretty much enforcing the patriarchy, and it pretty much is making it I guess you say an unsafe environment for women and everything like that. And they really put emphasis to try to make the company look really bad. And you can see in the article how they put emphasis on certain subtext to try to make it seem like the Guild Wars company was pretty much on the wrong side of the team, that they were defending toxic behavior from its fan base, when that really wasn't the case. So what I find dangerous is if no one have actually did the research or found out about this information, and if people are going to Polygon as a source themselves, as a source to get their information, they will read the article and totally believe it and make it seem like that that the company was wrong, and that they're enforcing sexism, that they're enforcing an unsafe environment, and that they will rather side with the toxic fan base community instead of protecting one of their female or women employees, you know, all the way back. So I think it's very dangerous, and I think it's very dishonest. That's why today I don't really trust today's, you know, like modern mainstream media, and I don't really trust, especially today when it comes to this whole gaming journalism, because there's a lot of dishonesty going on, especially when they're trying to push and trying to enforce an agenda. And in this case of Polygon was trying to push an agenda. In this case, is trying to show that there's sexism that's going on, and this woman wasn't treated right. And she also said in the article, in the interview with Kotaku, stating that O'Brien had pretty much brought her into the room, and she said she felt as though that, you know, him being the man, he was pretty much lashing out all his frustration and putting enforcing all his authority and power on her in the situation. And then he let her go, which wasn't the case, where the whole situation had pretty much been has sparked up because of her and how she lashed out the fans and calling the fans asshats, and pretty much trying to demean Dorora, who is a big fan of the company and who just wanted to have a discussion with one of the developers. And she really took it to the extreme and really took it into this whole sexism situation is in toxicity and stuff like that. And I really think that's really dishonest. And now, like, in looking at Polygon and looking at how other articles that took this and really made it into something that it really wasn't. But what I do like about O'Brien's response to her boss, and how he said the reason why he fired her, because the thing is, the other argument that she was saying was that she has no freedom to express herself. She said the main reason why she was hired in the first place because they like her bravery, they like how she expresses herself. But in this case, it wasn't the fact is that she was expressing herself, it was the fact is that she attacked a fan. She attacked the exact base that makes this company money. And the thing was, like I said, the fan base was not being disrespectful towards her. She was being disrespectful towards the fan base. So she was pretty much saying that she don't have that it was her private Twitter, and that no company should have any control over her Twitter, to say, you know, she should be able to say what she wants and stuff like that. But she failed to realize that if you're talking and you're representing their company, then whatever you say, you're going to be talking as a representative of their company. And you put yourself in a situation to where if you say anything that doesn't represent the company at all, then you're going to get fired or some legal action is going to be taken. So I just wanted to read this post real quick, and I'm gonna post it up on the screen so you can see it yourself. But it was a perfect response from O'Brien, and that he said to Polygon, because Polygon was really trying to smear the company and O'Brien himself, and I really appreciate his response. So it says that O'Brien's statement says that Jessica had identified herself as an ArenaNet employee on Reddit and Twitter, had been discussing episode 3 storytelling with fans on Reddit, then had written a 25-part tweet about how we tell stories in the MMO, relating it back to episode 3. She's representing the company. The expectation was to behave professionally and respectfully, or at least walk away. Instead, she attacked. Concerns have been publicly raised that she was responding to harassment. It's not my place to tell employees when they should or shouldn't feel harassed. In this case, however, our employees could have chosen not to engage, and they could have brought the issue to the company, whereby we would have done everything that we could have to protect them. We won't tolerate harassment. When an employee feels harassed, we want them to bring the issue to us so that we can protect the employee, deal with the issue, and use it to speak to the larger issue of harassment. Whatever Jessica and Peter felt internally about the situation, this was objectively a customer engaging us respectfully and professionally, which I said, presenting a suggestion for our game. Any response from our company needed to be respectful and professional. A perceived slight doesn't give us the license to attack. We've all dedicated our careers to entertaining people, to making games for the purpose of delighting those who play them. We generally have a wonderful relationship with our community, and that's a point of pride for us. We want to hear from our players. It's not acceptable that an attempted interaction with our company, in this case a polite game suggestion, would be met with an open hostility, and that set a chilling precedent. The tweet were made on July 4th. When the studio was closed for the holiday, we were aware of them that day and decided we needed to take action in the morning. The fact that the community's anger was escalating on July 5th could make it look like our action was a response to the community's anger, but that wasn't the case. I hate to let an employee go, and I wish the best for Jessica and Peter. As for any former employee and whatever they choose to do next, whatever you thought of the tweets, Jessica and Peter were also part of the team that brought you the kidnapping scene in episode 1, which was a wonderfully well executed scene. That's how I want to remember their time here at ArenaNet, which, like I said before, O'Brien couldn't have said it any better. If you're going to go in there and represent yourself as an ArenaNet employee, anything that you post regarding their game, and if fans respond to what you post regarding their game, and you responded back in in a bully type of way or an aggressive type of way towards its fan base, then expect legal actions or some ramifications is going to happen to you. And in this case, O'Brien, I believe that he handled it in the best way he possibly could. Now, as far as Peter Fries is concerned, was there a little too harsh on him? Is because I would say that he only responded in a way where it didn't, like, it wasn't on a level of Jessica Price. But as I can say, I guess you have to sometimes, I guess you could say, make people into examples. So for all you white knights out there, I believe you should think twice before you just want to jump the gun and want to defend. Really look at the situation and see how the situation plays out, and see who's really at fault here before you go out and start taking your white knight armor, sword, and shield to go in and start defending. Because now he had to pay the ultimate price for something that she has created to begin with. So that's pretty much, you know, the whole gist of the situation. Just wanted to just give you my input and what I think about the whole situation. And it's really scummy how journalism and mainstream media is really trying to push certain agendas to the extreme to try to paint certain people or companies or just whatever in general into a certain light, to create a divide between the people, especially when it comes to gaming, as far as ArenaNet and its community, to try to bring a divide, to try to make it like that this company didn't defend her and that this was a helpless woman being under attack because of her gender or whatever like that. And that really wasn't the case, when she was the one that provoked the whole situation to begin with. So that's my thoughts. I want to hear what you think about this whole situation. Do you think Jessica Price was in the wrong, or do you think she was completely right about the situation, or do you think that O'Brien could have handled the situation better as far as dealing with Jessica Price and Peter Fries? And then, do you think Peter Fries should have minded his own business and let the situation play out, or do you think he did right by going in there and defending her and end up paying the ultimate cost of being fired as a result of it? So leave your thoughts in the comment section below. This is MugenLord, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified, and hit the like on this video if you like this video. So see you game fiends later. Signing off.